you said last week when you made the announcement about being a proponent for the initial phase, it's a test of whether Canada works or not. And kind of in the same vein as I'm asking about labeling David Eby as un-Canadian, like, why take it to that level? And ultimately, if you're going to make that kind of threat or ultimatum, like, what happens if you get a no on this? Does that mean that Canada doesn't work? And what does that mean that you do in response?
Well, I can tell you that Albertans are questioning whether Canada works. And I'm not telling anything you don't know. There's a very active group that thinks Canada's broken. And so I suppose I could just go down to the United States and start working with American counterparts to see if we can build more pipelines. They've expressed an interest in restarting the Keystone XL. And I suppose we could maybe sell another 1 million or 2 million barrels a day additional to the United States. But I believed the premiers and I believed the Prime Minister when they said they wanted us to work like a country, that they wanted us to open new markets. And that's what I'm doing. In goodwill, I am going and building the case. That's why I was in Quebec. It's why I'm in Toronto tomorrow. It's why I'm in Ottawa. And it's why I'm going to continue traveling the country, is that when I heard my fellow premiers say that we need to start addressing issues that will allow us to work together to tear down internal trade barriers and get our products to market, this is what it looks like, is that we have hard conversations about the things we need to build. And if it doesn't work, then I guess I'll have to work with the United States. But that then is a failure, in my opinion. That's kind of is a failure of the exercise. The whole reason why we've had this recalibration in Canada in the last 8 months is because people are nervous that we are too reliant on the United States. So changing so that we become even more reliant on the United States seems to be a failure.
When you invoke the separatist sentiment, though, are you threatening in the eventuality, or the possibility rather, that this is a no, that you will throw support behind that endeavor? Like, what is it exactly that will happen if you deem Canada to be broken? And just to push back a little bit, like the construction of TMX, I know you criticize the taxpayer dollars behind that, but ultimately it has had a massive germane impact on the differential, greatly increased the amount of money coming into provincial and federal coffers, right? Like, it's not as though there have been no efforts on the part of other provinces or the federal government to make sure that Albertans see the economic benefit of the oil and gas that sits underneath your province. So to characterize it as such feels unfair.
We have a $6.5 billion deficit. The federal government has a $100 billion deficit. You don't eliminate that by printing money out of thin air. You eliminate that by investing in projects that build wealth. And the kind of things that build wealth are pipelines to markets that want them. If we build a 1 million barrel a day pipeline to the BC coast, that's another $20 billion a year in GDP, 40% of which goes to governments, half to the federal government and half to the provincial government. Why would we settle? Why would we settle with running nothing but deficits? Why would we settle with the problems that we have at the federal level that even the PBO is warning about is getting very dire? We've got to start finding ways to be able to build things again. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to make sure that Canadians are on board and understand what that looks like, because we can't have the next 10 years be like the last 10 years. We have to build a lot more of the kinds of projects like TMX for the benefit of everybody.